Carbon pricing is when countries charge fees, mainly to companies, but also sometimes to individuals, for greenhouse gas emissions. Mineral-rich countries, including South Africa, have introduced carbon prices with the goal of reducing emissions and raising additional fiscal revenues. The EU's new Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, or CBAM, gives a further reason for countries that export to Europe to consider introducing their own carbon prices. Once the CBAM comes into force, if non-EU countries don't have their own carbon prices as high as the EU's, then their exporting companies will have to pay new border taxes to Europe when they export certain products to the bloc. Introducing their own carbon prices will mean that these countries can keep these revenues for themselves, rather than seeing them collected by the EU. There are some key things that governments of mining countries could bear in mind when introducing carbon prices. First, carbon prices can be politically challenging to implement, and governments need to consider their impacts on different stakeholders. To help with this, governments could combine carbon prices with complementary policies and/or pursue other approaches such as regulations and public investments to cut emissions. Second, although some countries use emissions trading schemes in which companies are allocated or purchase carbon trading permits, the UN recommends that developing countries should instead use carbon taxes because they are easier to administer than emissions trading. Finally, governments may wish to adjust their mining tax regimes when introducing carbon pricing to ensure that they continue to strike the right balance between maximizing revenues on the one hand and attracting investment on the other once carbon prices have been introduced.